Today we got a special guest next to me. We have the striking connoisseur.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cory Capcom Tait. Come on.
Big love, my people. I didn't even clock
Welcome,
that
bro.
it was red and blue corner until you just said that. I was like, yeah, we got the red chairs.
Yeah, we're going back and forth today.
Love for having me, guys. Say no
man.
more, man. It's
Yeah,
combat
man.
at the end of the day, innit? Let's go, man.
Yeah,
Let's
man.
go.
You know
Let's
it is,
go,
man. We're gonna chop it up. We're gonna chop it up.
Sick.
But yeah, to start, we always got a question we ask to the guest. What got you into MMA?
Okay, that's a good question. There's a couple of ways to answer it. What got me into martial arts or what got me into MMA?
All right. We'll start with martial arts, then we'll go into the MMA.
The martial arts journey, that's, I guess, pretty cliche now. Where I'm older now, there's a lot of people that had the same story as me. Everyone just got gassed off of the Turtles and the Power Rangers and just all of that stuff. Mum's like, get down from there. You're like, nah, but I can show you something. It's sick. Do you get me? Like, you start doing them kind of things. And yeah, bro, family took me. And they say it's a fish in water type situation. Like, I just never looked back. You know, I didn't realize that I was better than all the other kids. You don't realize because you're just having fun with all the others. You know what I mean? MMA is a little bit different. I got a little bit older.
So just before you get into that, so you say martial arts. So what was the martial arts?
That's
Or
what
just
Taekwondo. I started off Taekwondo.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
Taekwondo,
That
man.
explains the kicks.
There we go. Yeah, man. A lot of kick game. So I started competing kickboxing in my teens. And yeah, it was the kick game that people just could not deal with, man. It didn't matter if they was from boxing, kickboxing, traditional arts as well. It was just something I had. I don't know.
The dexterity with Taekwondo is different. That's what I noticed.
Yeah, man. The dexterity, the setups. I had a sick coach. He just didn't push himself as much as he could have at the time. Like, rest in peace and that. But he could have pushed himself and been truly sick. Do you know what I mean? And that was always in the back of my head. Like, man, like, look at what you've just shown me. I'm coming here a couple of times a week. At the time, I was training quite a lot as a kid. I was doing like 3-4 times a week. But yeah, he always had something new to show me, always something new to teach me and that. So yeah, bro, sick.
Yeah, right. And then MMA.
MMA. So early days, I was probably about 11, 12, and I met Gentis Bakauskas. So that's the father of Modestus Bakauskas.
Okay, yeah.
Met him when I was about 11, 12, and yeah, he truly like unlocked the MMA in me, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. Still, it was mad. He taught me so much stuff that I use to this day. Yeah, ain't got a bad word to say about him, man. He showed me a lot still.
Nice.
And yeah, he was kind of the one that was like, you know, you can really do this. I was working like 3 jobs, and I still felt broke, bruv. Do you get me? That was the main thing, and I was like, this can't be life, bro. This just can't be it, man. Around the same time, Anderson Silva, I remember I see him fight Chris Lieben, bro. And from that moment, when I saw Anderson Silva do that to Chris Lieben, I was like, ah, cool, yeah. Like, it's not all just mad double leg handstands against the cage looking for the takedown for 8 minutes. Do you know what I mean? This guy getting the job done. Do you see what I mean? I was like, this is how it's supposed to be. And yeah, so I kind of took that from what my coach showed me from Anderson Silva and that, and I just ran with it, man.
Sweet.
Capcom.
Sweet.
You know what I mean?
And the name Capcom, how did you get that?
Well, I love PlayStation games and all of this, the fighting games and that. Tekken Tait just didn't sound great. Do you get me?
Tait.
Yeah,
got a little ring
don't
to
sound,
it.
Ain't
Ain't quite the same as Capcom Cory.
Nah, don't mug me up for that one still. I was like, nah, I can't have that one still. Even though I love, like, Tekken's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Street Fighter, Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom, probably one of my favorite games ever. And yeah.
Nothing beats Tekken 3 though, blood.
Tekken 3, Tekken 3,
Tekken 3 was
yeah.
serious.
Game changer, big
Yeah,
game
yeah,
changer.
for real.
They had King in the Nike trackies
Jeez.
and that. Yeah. It's crazy still. Yeah, man. So that's where it come from. Yeah, obviously, yeah. Capcom, Street Fighter, fighting games. People say my style, you look like you fighting out of a video game. Moves I've never seen before, combos, specials, breakers, and all of this stuff. You know, we get there.
Sweet. So, I was looking at your record earlier, yeah?
Love, yeah.
All your wins are finishes.
Yes, sir. Yes,
So 100% finish rate.
100%
You're a
finish rate.
top striker.
I'm super proud of that.
Top striker, Killy.
I'm super proud of that.
Still.
Got subs there as well, though.
Got subs there. It's just, for me, it's the finish. It's not so much about, I love a knockout, don't get me wrong, but the finish rate is, for me, the most important thing. if you fight me and I beat you, you know, you're waking up in the morning with something. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of my thing. So whoever's fighting me next, they better know, they better do everything they can. And as well as a martial artist, I respect people that train hard for me. It's the same way I train hard for them. So, so yeah, that's the martial arts side, the Budo, Bushido, and all of that, you know. But yeah, man.
All right. And just obviously, I do sessions with you and whatnot.
Yes, sir.
But like just speaking with you and that, I can tell you got that old school martial arts still installed in you. But what are some of the like? Because some of the training stories you told me, I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna chop it up. So like, what's like the craziest story that you can actually say? Because remember we live.
Okay, yeah,
we live.
Facts.
Yeah.
I remember. Okay, let me think.
You have to think about that one.
Yeah.
Throw someone
Give me
under
a
the bus.
second. So, fun enough, I don't actually remember who it was.
Alright,
I
that's
actually
cool.
don't remember
That's
who
cool.
it
Better
was.
ways,
Yeah,
better
but I was training out in Florida.
Alright.
Black Zillions at the time, so Henry Hoof,
Okay.
Anthony Johnson, Michael Johnson. Yeah, rest in peace to AJ and that. But yeah, bro, it was one of the first sparring sessions that I'd gone to, and I did very good in my first spar. I fought a few guys. I won't say their names and that, but everyone kind of left, like, you know, when their hands over their mouth, like, oh, who is this guy? Do you know what I mean? Kind of getting into the flows of it, and I don't even remember seeing the strike. Yeah, it was just the mantra of training at the time. It was all just hard sparring. We're going hard, this and that, hard, right? But in my head, it's like, well, I ain't been hurt yet, so everyone else going hard, but I'm doing okay. Do you know what I mean? Bro, I was sparring. I didn't remember who, and all I heard was everyone stopped, turn around, and there was a guy literally like starfished out, eyes open. You've seen that boxing Grand Prix knockout when the guy looked, and it's quite recent. The guys were looking at the camera after his eyes open.
like
And
that.
that, bro, it was like that. You turn around, and the guy's alive a second ago, bro. He looked like he was dead. You see what I mean? Off a knee to the face, but how he was out, man, like dead body, not moving, you know. And the next day or the next spar, I was living with a couple of the guys, and a big heavyweight dude, bro. I'll never forget this, bro, because I had to walk away. I started fucking laughing. I was dying. So it's big guy, big heavyweight guy, come down. He's having breakfast, but he's got the spoon in his hand. And man's shaking like this. The whole thing, you can hear the spoon clanging off the bowl and all this. Man's eating like this, I say, what's wrong? Man just looked at me with the maddest face, like a horror movie. He said, you just don't know who it's going to be today, do you? I said, okay. Light sparring today still. Bro, I never seen a bigger man so scared with fear in his eyes like that at like 7 a.m, bro. Like 7 a.m, bro. It was crazy. He was shook, bro. I'll never forget that. I was like, oh, man. But he was right. It was right, because what everyone saw, it just didn't look nice. I've seen guys get knocked out. I've seen guys break arms and all of that stuff in training, but there was something about that one that was just like, oh yeah, like what we're doing here, guys. We're not playing golf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
we're not playing golf.
It's for real. If you're throwing knees in training like that, knocking people
That's
out.
what I mean. He didn't have the guy that threw it, no pads, no nothing. I don't know. Maybe it was heated, whatever. Do you know what I mean? But protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Like that, bro.
I got a question for you before Rimz shoots again.
Bro.
You train with Rimz a little bit. What's Rimz saying there?
Oh, he's nice, you know. He's nice, bro. We have to get you down and get a little spar session in, bro. Yeah, no, why not? I don't know how long you've been in my classes now. But you're a regular.
Just started doing the Wednesdays now.
But you regular now. Since I've taken him over, I've always seen him there. That's kind of how we hooked this up as well. Just telling him a couple of stories here and there, and he's just like, "Should come down, bro." So,
man.
yeah, man. And I see you guys moving. It's a nice little setup and that. Shout out to Kombat Kingz, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
love every time. Right, so like in terms of like your career now, what is your aspirations where you're at now?
Them serious questions.
Yeah,
life questions.
Ask those ones there, bro.
Well, I'm getting older now, man. It's crazy though. I still feel sharp. I still feel good, you know. But you just know that you can't fight forever. Once you hit a certain age and you kind of realize that still. When you're younger, you always think you can just keep doing this forever. Do you know what I mean? You've got 100 fights left. Do you know what I mean? This is how it is. It's just how it is. But I guess now, where certain things didn't quite work out the way that you expected, yeah, you kind of just got to find other ways to stay within your lane, but it's just same race, different lane, or whatever. You know the metaphor that I'm trying to get at. Do you know what I mean? So I've always been a coach. I've always coached. I've been coaching since I was like 18. Started off with kids and whatever. I don't teach kids now because I don't know, the discipline game is crazy.
Because even with the adults, bro, I can tell you like, why aren't you man like serious? Like,
because it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
Because there'll be guys that be like, yo, I want to be, or I saw Conor McGregor, or I saw Israel Adesanya, or I saw whoever it might be that they love so much, and I'm gonna be in the UFC, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. It's like, bro, you can't even lace your gloves up in time to do the moves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like
you're saying a game.
It's like, how are you saying that to me, and I'm supposed to be like, yeah, man, I believe in you so much. Like, come on, bro, just lead by example. That's it. It's very simple. I'm showing you the moves and all of this, but you can't even get your stuff on in time, and it's more frustrating than anything. Because then for me to entertain everyone saying how, oh yeah, I want to be in the UFC and I want to do this, like do you see what I mean? It's already funny. It's already funny, and you have to really entertain. Like, yeah, man, like let's go. Like that's it, bro. It's tough, but I love all my students. Same way.
Yeah, you see, like with the coaching, it makes you see a different part of the game.
Definitely.
You're saying like obviously you're getting on in age or whatever, and your body might not feel the same in a few years' time from now.
Facts.
But with the coaching, you see things differently in there, innit?
Of course. Definitely ups your game, makes you see things differently. Everybody has different levels of coaching and what they do. But as I said, through knowing Gentis, he showed me so much unknowingly as well. There was stuff he was trying to show me. There was other stuff that he showed me without even realizing. And I think between Gentis, between Dennis, my taekwondo coach, and all the others that I've met in between, the Henry Hoofs, Brad Pickett, you know what I mean? Like all the people that I've met over time, I forget so many names, but I've trained with so many people in my life that I guess it just comes as a collective. So I am my own entity. So there's nothing that can really be replicated from my style, because there was a guy that trained with me, sparred me, mashed him up. He went to go and train with my coach thinking he's going to learn what I know. But you understand, it doesn't work like that. Like, I know my own stuff too. And that's why when I coach now, I'm kind of releasing some of that stuff. I had a little mad epiphany maybe about a month or two ago that if I die, all of my knowledge will die with me. Do you get me? Everything I know, it's all in the coffin with me. Do you see what I mean? Regardless. Like, and it was a weird thing still. Very humbling thing to come up with myself. Like, like, I can't keeping techniques for myself and whatever else. You got to kind of release it and help people, because at the end of the day, it's still martial arts. It's still a whole. Do you get me? You still got to add your piece to it before you go and that. So yeah, I kind of keep that as I'm coaching.
All right. That's a good outlook still.
That was a nice answer still.
No, I respect that one.
Can't even lie.
Man had to spud himself.
yeah, mentally.
And I was gonna say to you, what would you say was your toughest fight you had today?
Toughest fight? That's a good question.
And why?
My toughest fight is probably my Cage Warriors title fight. Broken knuckles on both sides leading up to the fight.
Yeah.
Left my coach Gentis, and building up for that with broken knuckles, like you can't hit anything, you're trying to train, bro, it was just a fucking mess really. I should have pulled out of that shit. But Cage Warriors title, man, you just can't say no. There's so many fights that I was just like, you should say no, but I'm like, fuck it, bro, because you could win. You could win. Do you know what I mean? So
how did you game plan around that then? Because you must have had a game plan, because you couldn't really punch.
Kick him.
Just
kick him, but he was a sick grappler as well, so it came at a cost. It came at a cost, man. He got the better of me still. 4 rounds in, and I don't feel too bad, because at the time he finished everybody. I think he was like 9-1 or 9-2, and it was all by rear naked choke. You get me, in the first or second round, but he managed to get me in the fourth with like 10 seconds to go. So in my head, on my worst day, on the worst camp I ever had, it still took him 20 minutes. You get me? So I took a little bit of strength from that. But yeah, that was probably my hardest one. Everything was different. Camp's different. People around you's different. Everything, man. So yeah, that's just the credit to having good people around you as well. It's not, no man is an island in this game. You know?
My question is, obviously, when you win, no one thinks about it. But when you lose, like, what's the mindset, the thought process that you sort of go through after a loss? Because that's obviously one of the toughest stages. You've worked hard for your training camp, and then to come out and not get the dub. Like, how do you deal with that?
It depends. I think when you've lost in different ways, the outcome and the mental state is always different. If you had a hard fight, you put everything on the line, and the guy just got the better of you, sometimes you're not even mad. Do you know what I mean? You're like, I had a good fight, bro. If the guy done good, what do you want me to do? Do you know what I mean? And you kind of just say, let me just keep doing what I was doing because these bits was working. On the other side, you can kind of autopilot yourself and you're going for takedowns you don't need to go for, and just nervous energy, swinging with your chin up in the air and that. Like, there's things like that when people lose fights like that. That's when you see them go back to the change rooms, they're kicking off. Do you know what I mean? Because they know they fucked up. Do you see what I mean? So I think it always comes down to how you was fighting at the time. The losses, some of the losses that I've had, in my head, I chalk it up to fights I shouldn't have taken, thinking I'm Superman. Do you see what I mean? Sometimes you gotta still train. I still train for my opponents and all of this, but sometimes I took a fight with a torn shoulder, and I knew my shoulder was torn. Do you get me? But I was like, nah, I can still do something. Do you see what I mean? I go to fight, and that fight to me is probably the worst fight I've ever had. Do you get me? I can't even watch that fight sometimes. Do you see what I mean? Like, that's kind of the other side of the losses, but still lessons, man. Still lessons.
All right. So, what would be your advice to up and comers then in the game right now?
To the up and comer fighters. So what are we talking? We're talking amateurs. We're talking early pros.
We're talking. All right. Let's talk pros.
Early pros. Early pros. Don't believe. Yeah, literally. Don't believe the promoters, the managers, and whatever. All shit stinks. Yeah. Look at Conor McGregor before the Nate Diaz fight when he get choked out. Yeah. And he was on a media fucking tornado. Yeah. And that was all because the UFC telling him that don't stink, bro. Do you get me? You get me? You can shit right there. It's fine. I don't smell anything. Do you see what I mean? The minute you lose or whatever, it's geez, who fucking left this shit here? Do you see what I mean? So metaphorically speaking, just do what you did that got you there in the first place, and don't change nothing. Yeah, don't start believing people when they start telling you this, telling you that. Just stay on the path, man. And I wish there was a Capcom Cory to tell me that at the time. There was a promoter that called me the UK's Anderson Silva, and at the time I ran with that. I loved it. Again, off the Anderson Silva, Anderson Silva. Do you know what I mean? That was already. I was like, damn, like so soon, everybody can already see my greatness. Yeah, like, do you see what I mean? But really, you learn over time that, man, you're yourself. Do you know what I mean? I'm Capcom Cory now, and I was then. Do you see what I mean? And the reason I got those, I guess, opportunities and things I did back then was not because I was fucking Anderson Silva. Do you see what I mean? But it just showed how much I looked up to those guys. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not the wrong thing I did, but just showing other people that's kind of, don't believe all that. Just do what got you there, man.
Sweet.